everybody. Welcome to Rachel's Reviews. This is the Hidden Gems podcast where we talk about all the streaming services and stuff that you can enjoy on those streaming services beyond the obvious big ticket items. And so I'm very excited to be here. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Ryan is here.
Hey, Rachel. So good to hear your voice once again. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has been listening to the Hidden Gems podcast. I love doing this podcast with Rachel. I'm like as giddy as a schoolboy when Monday comes around because that's when we record this thing. Yes. So it's like I used to hate Mondays. Now I love Mondays. So there it is.
Yeah, this is really a treat for me as well. And we're excited. Next week, we're going to actually go back and watch some of the recommendations that we made over, because I think we'll have 20 episodes that we will have done. Because we've recommended quite a few films at this point. So it's going to be fun, but that's not what we're doing this week. Today, we are talking Disney Plus. This is our 7th episode about Disney Plus. Can you believe it?
Yeah, we've stranded from the Disney Plus wilderness, and we have been like Lewis and Clark and exploring the other streaming services. But now, today, we are coming home.
Yeah, 7 episodes of Disney Plus, so no excuse to not have anything to watch. I don't want to hear it.
None.
I don't want to hear it. But before we dive into our Hidden Gems recommendations, which is the main part of the podcast, we wanted to talk a little bit about the film that Disney released to Disney Plus this last Friday, which was ARTEMIS FOWL. We both reviewed it on our channels. And I think we had pretty similar reactions to the film. And I thought we could talk for a second about the film, but also how we feel its release is problematic for Disney Plus, and sort of a problem that the service has. But just for the record, what did you think of ARTEMIS FOWL?
How long you got?
Yeah, right.
Let me just say first and foremost that I have been reading reviews that saying like this is like the worst YA adaptation of all time, when Twilight, the Divergent series, and the crappy Last Airbender from M. Night Shyamalan have also come out in my lifetime. So don't even come at me with ARTEMIS FOWL as the worst YA adaptation of all time. However, I am willing to entertain the possibility that it is one of the worst, because this movie was dreadful to sit through. I had to sit through it 3 times just to get through it. It's a 90-minute movie. I had to break it up into chunks, which is something that I never do, but it was necessary this time around, because giving all the credit in the world to Kenneth Branagh, I like him as a director and as an actor. And I don't think this was his fault, because he actually shot some stuff on location on the southern coast of Ireland, which I genuinely enjoyed. And a lot of the visuals I thought were really good. I saw one review that said that the visuals didn't look like they were even finished. And I wholly disagree with that, because the movie actually looks great. The story, however, is an entirely different beast. I have never read these books, but I've actually pre-ordered it from the library, so I am going to read into it. And hopefully it's better than the thing that we just got. From everyone that I have listened to and read about, that is largely the case, being the book is much better than the movie. But this movie was just a mess.
I agree. I read the book this week because I had last week I had a feeling they were going to mess it up, and I kind of wanted to have some foundation to kind of figure out how they messed it up and what was maybe the problems. And it's an interesting book because Artemis is not the lead character. In fact, he's the villain, at least for this first book.
He's the villain, and they make him out to be this like sympathetic child, and I'm like, No, that's not how it works. I've never read the books, but I've looked up to know
Yeah.
enough that this kid is evil, and you've got it almost completely
Yeah.
backwards.
Yeah, and Holly is the main character, the hero of the story.
And she's
The
barely in
fairy.
it.
Yeah, she's barely in it. And the problem that I had with the movie, because YA fantasy is not my cup of tea for the most part. Like, I'm a tough sell. So, uh, but the problem that I had with the movie is that it felt more like an introductory pilot to a television show than a movie. There was
It
no
felt like a
overarching.
pilot to a USA Network show.
Yeah, like what you had is one person explaining things, and then you transfer to the next person that would be explaining things, and then the next person and the next person, and there was no like overarching plot or narrative. And it reminded me a lot of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which is another movie I hated. It's not as bad as this, but it had the same basic problem. Whereas in Miss Peregrine's, it was the same thing, that you went from one character explaining to another character explaining to another character explaining, and until literally the final scene of the movie is a character explaining. And it's just so dull and uninteresting, and something that should be fantastic, should be exciting, should be some sense of wonder or whimsy or awe. It just removes it and just becomes this like exposition dump. And at least Miss Peregrine's had a couple scenes that were kind of it had a skeleton scene, and it had a scene underwater that was kind of cool. It had a couple scenes like that, but for the most part I felt like that movie was one person talking, and then they'd find something, and then there would be a person explaining what this thing is, and then they'd go into another room. Oh, we're gonna have another person explain what's going on, and then they go somewhere else. Oh, we're gonna have more explaining. And that's how I felt Artemis Fowl was too, is that no character actually had an arc. It was just time explaining stuff.
Yeah, and in terms of
Holly's
and in terms of
explaining,
the and
Josh
in terms
Gad's
of
characters explaining, Artemis Fowl's explaining. Like they're just
yeah,
all
it,
it's
in terms of the narrator, we got lucky with Miss Peregrine's because at least we got like Terrence Stamp narrating over things.
yeah.
Like in Artemis Fowl, we got Josh Gad doing a Christian Bale Batman voice. And I like Josh Gad. I think he's talented, but I think he is on a personal quest to touch every one of my nerves. Like as Olaf and as, the freaking guy who sounds like this but can dig tunnels through holes and whatever it is. I fully expected him to be like, swear to me, and all that. It just, what
Yeah.
the choices that were made, it just
It
boggles
was
the
it was
mind.
instead of having a story with a narrative where our hero goes from being in what you want in a fantasy story is you want your hero to go from being basically like an innocent who is unaware, doesn't know what's going on. Then he gets sent on a quest, and then the quest causes him to be in peril. That's the climax of the story, and then he ends up defeating the evil, and he becomes this new exciting person.
I feel
So
like
you see a whole arc.
there was no progression. There was
Yeah.
regression.
Like if you look at Luke Skywalker, starts off this kind of innocent. It doesn't know. He is unaware. He's this innocent kid. He ends up at a point in great peril, and he ends up defeating the enemy in the end, victorious. Boom, your story. That's what you want in a hero's journey. That's what you want in a fantasy story. And even if you don't, even if you want to subvert expectations and don't want to follow the hero's journey, you still need to have a narrative. You can't just have, I've gone into this room, now explain to me, and now I'm going into another room, I need an explanation. Like that's not a good story.
Yeah, and to provide another example, I just got done watching Mr. Smith Goes to Washington for the AFI project over on my channel.
Yeah.
#shameless plug. But there's a hero's journey in there too. Jefferson Smith is just basically a Boy Scout leader.
Right.
He was chosen like, hey, you're young and naive, come on and be a senator. And he's like, okay, sure. You know, he has like a childlike whimsy about how the government works, and then he learns real quick that things don't go as easy.
Mm.
And by the time the movie ends, like, he is a far more seasoned person, but the journey is what makes that satisfying, because he goes from a wide-eyed scout leader to a pretty seasoned senator with a
Yeah.
pretty serious professional victory under his belt.
Right.
You know, and it's not like, well, let me tell you about the time I formed the boys camp. It's like, no, it's shown, not told. Artemis Fowl just told for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And it felt like 3 hours, but that's
Yeah.
irregardless of that.
Well, so real quick, I wanted just to talk about how I think this is a problem for Disney. I think that, so basically what they had their release last of Disney Plus last November. They had, you know, a certain number of original films. They had The Mandalorian. They had things like The World According to Jeff Goldblum. They had the Noelle, the Anna Kendrick movie. They had Togo. So they had all of this content to start out with. And then they had all of this promise of new content for 2020, including things like the Lizzie McGuire show, which ended up not happening. They were supposedly going to do this Love Victor show, but that ended up going to Hulu for various reasons. So they've had some messiness as far as certain shows. But then now, I think the big promise was you're not only going to get Mandalorian season 2 in 2020, but you're also going to get, I think it was 2 or 3 Marvel shows. You're going to get Falcon Winter Soldier show, and I forget, but you're going to get some Marvel shows. You're going to get new content that they're going to be filming, and because of the COVID-19, obviously that stopped filming. So I don't think we're going to get anything from Marvel until next year, and so, and who knows any other new programming that they're going to be able to have. I mean, they do have Mandalorian season 2,
I was
but
just going to mention Mandalorian, but
yeah, but and they may have some other stuff that I'm not aware of. But I feel like they've had some really good stuff, like Togo and Timmy Failure were really good. I mean, the High School Musical, the musical series was a good series, but that filming got stalled, I know, because it was filming here in Utah. And so for season 2, so I think they have to be pretty concerned, and I'm sure they are, because the things that they did show, even though they were pretty quality, didn't really get a whole bunch of buzz. And now they've released Artemis Fowl, and it's gotten a lot of buzz, but negatively so. And so I think that they have to be pretty concerned that Disney Plus is going to be looked at as Disney's garbage bin, or where we put projects that we don't believe in, don't think are going to make money for us. Oh, well, we'll just release them on Disney Plus. And I almost kind of wonder if it would be worth it. I mean, it seems crazy, the idea of releasing Mulan on Disney Plus with how expensive that movie was. It seems almost ludicrous. But if they're going to take a huge financial bath anyway, then it makes me kind of wonder, just for we are releasing premier quality entertainment on Disney Plus. Stay subscribed, because if things continue, and it could be more important than ever that the streaming service is seen as valid and worthy of subscribing. If the theaters continue to just lose traction, I mean, it's possible this whole entire year could basically just be a wash for the studios. And so it may be worth considering they have to put some of these prestige projects on Disney Plus. I don't know. What do you think about all of that?
Well, I think we're still. I think Mulan will be released in theaters, but if by some reason it doesn't, then I guess Disney Plus isn't a bad place to put it. And it's like you said, it would be great marketing. Be like, hey, we're willing to release a high budget live action remake that we made on this streaming service. If you want to watch it, it's only here. So it's like the perfect marketing tool, license to print money and all that.
Yeah, like it seems crazy because that movie was extremely expensive, depending on who you believe, even upwards of $300 million. So they won't do it, but if they're gonna take a bath on it, I don't know. They need to find something that they can release, I think, that will get people to stop talking about Artemis Fowl. I guess they have that Hamilton coming up, so that'll help.
Yeah, that will definitely play a part. I've heard nothing but great things about Hamilton from literally everyone.
Yeah, it's really good. I saw it. Yeah, so that's true. But I think they definitely have to be concerned because and I still don't understand why they don't have their entire canon on Disney Plus. Like I was looking up Make Mine Music because I thought about picking that because I think it's underrated. It's not on there. Why isn't it on there? I have no idea.
I was going to say maybe it's like a streaming like rights issue, but I guess in the case of Make Mine Music, it's strictly a Disney production.
Yeah,
So yeah,
weird.
that makes no sense.
So I don't know. It's a weird thing, and I think they need to be careful because the streaming wars are going to be more and more important to a studio's success right now because people can't go to the theater, so they have to get it on streaming. So you have to make your streaming service really attractive.
Right.
Your thoughts in the comments section or on Twitter. And Ryan, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20. Also on my YouTube channel, Ryan Cam Movie Reviews. Today is a Monday, which means my episode on the waterfront for the AFI project just dropped. So if you would like to go check that out, please do so. That's going to be a pretty prevalent series on the channel. I've got coming up in the coming days and weeks movies like It's a Wonderful Life and Chinatown and Some Like It Hot and The Grapes of Wrath and E.T. It's just going to be a deluge of some of the best movies ever made. And then, of course, I'll be gearing up for Nolan Month in honor of Tenet. So I'll be reviewing all of Nolan's movies, and I am just now starting to watch all the movies from my Halloween series. I know it's a tad early, but hey, it doesn't hurt to prepare yourself, don't you, right?
That's right. Very good. All right. Yeah, and you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please check that out. And also you can find me at the Hallmarkies Podcast. So lots of fun stuff there. And thanks again, Ryan. This is always really fun. And we'll look forward to next week. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.